Good morning, friends. Today we are going to see fourth lecture of IoT. That is, we are learning fundamentals of an IoT. That is Unit 1. Okay. So before starting this lecture, I will recap what we have learned in last three lectures. So we started with basics of IoT, like history of an IoT, then opportunities in IoT, why IoT is important, and growth of IoT, why IoT is popular, and all. So there, those particular things we have learned in first lecture. Then in the second lecture, we have seen about some basic block diagram of IoT and everything. Okay. In third lecture, we have cleared about logical design and physical design of an IoT. Important components of an IoT we have seen in the third lecture. So we'll start with the fourth lecture. In this lecture, we have seen different frameworks and different hardware availability for IoT design. Okay, so we'll start with the lecture. Okay, so IoT platforms and a framework. So there are many IoT platforms available and many frameworks available in the market. So what is actually a framework and a platform? So framework and a platform are the devices or the softwares where we can put a data and where we can integrate with the data. So there are the platforms like Oracle is giving Simply IoT, then Applied Informatics, then Machina.io, ThinkWorks is there, then we have Eclipse, IoT Eclipse, then Allsyn Alliance, then Alljoin is there, Octoblue is there, then we have Xively and Allsyn Exeda. So these are the different platforms available in the market. So there are some paid clouds and there are some free clouds available. So we can use these clouds for integrating your hardware devices with the cloud or with the IoT applications. Okay, so these are some platforms available for IoT, and we'll see in detail about these platforms. So very first platform is Alljoin framework by Allsyn Alliance. So Alljoin is an open source software platform. You will get all the repository of Alljoin on GitHub. That makes it easy for all the devices and apps to discover and communicate with each other. Different platforms support it. It supports different platforms as well, and it uses 3 C's technologies like connect, contribute, and collaborate. So Allsyn Alliance, that is Alljoin. So this supports connect, contribute, and collaborate. Okay, so we'll see detail about Allsyn Alliance. So they have their website known as allsynalliance.org and a framework. So we'll see about this website. So okay, I can type this and open it. So they have changed their website to Open Connectivity Foundation. This is again Open Connectivity Foundation. We can have this particular website for Alljoin. Okay, that is OCF solving of this IoT standby gap. Open Connectivity Foundation unlocking the massive opportunity in the field of IoT. So we'll have business, consumer, and developer things. What's your job is you need to visit all the websites and you have to list down all the features and demerits and merits of those particular software tools. So this is your first assignment. You need to do this assignment. I will float this particular assignment in the assignment tab of Microsoft Teams as well. Okay, so this is the first first portal, that is Allsyn framework or Alljoin framework. Okay, next we'll move forward. There is another website known as Machina.io. Machina.io is by Applied Informatics. It is based on existing C++ toolkits, and it supports a lot of built-in APIs. It is an open source tool again. and there is a website known as machina.io. So we'll see this particular website. Again, machina.io is the website. Over there we have this machina.io information, and the cloud, it is an open source cloud, and it is used for edge of the device and soft computing. Okay, so this is the website. Okay, it is having IoT edge device toolkit. Okay, so you can control and manage your devices with secure and private connection using this machina.io. Okay, so you need to register this machina.io. So many companies are using this particular thing, like Siemens, Fago, EOS, Continental, then DIEHL controls. So this is actually industry based platform. Okay, so it's having a cloud with mobile devices, also IoT edge device SDK, and sensors, actuators, and the devices will be connected all the way. Okay, so again, this is again open source platform. So it supports C and C++ for writing the thing. Okay, so machina.io is an open source platform. Okay, all right. The next is Oracle IoT platform. Oracle IoT platform is a Simply IoT platform. It is a paid service by the Oracle. It supports connect, analyze, and integrate. Again, this is the paid platform. So Oracle is providing the platform known as Simply IoT, and the Simply IoT platform is a very good platform, but it is a paid platform. So there is a website known as cloud.oracle.com/IoT. Over there we will get the information about this particular platform. So I'll show you this particular thing. Okay, so this is Oracle IoT. There is Oracle IoT, the Internet of Things Oracle for a competitive age. So we can have IDC vendors, we can have free trial for Oracle Cloud and all. Okay, there are different products available with the Oracle. You can visit this particular website and you can find out the pros and cons of this particular thing. Okay, so many of the IT industries are using this Oracle for their IoT solutions and all. Okay, so this is about Oracle IoT. Next is ThingWorx development platform. Again, ThingWorx is the platform available, and it is again a paid platform for the developer. So again, ThingWorx is developed by ThingWorx.com. So you can have website as ThingWorx.com. Okay, so you can visit this particular website for the information about ThingWorx IoT. So PTC is the company who provides this particular ThingWorx platform. Okay, so if you open this ptc.com/en/product/IoT, you will get this particular information about ThingWorx. Okay, so you will get more information about the platform, how to interact with this particular cloud, and how to interface this particular cloud with your hardware tools and all. Okay, so again, this is a nice platform for use. Okay, ThingWorx. Okay, next is we'll see, it is IBM Watson. So IBM Watson is again a good platform for IoT. So IBM is promoting this particular platform with the name of Watson. So they have their own cloud as Watson Cloud, and for 30 days they give this edition for a free. So you can access many IoT devices using this, using IBM Watson. Okay, so IBM Watson is there. So this is again a very good platform from the IBM. Okay, next there are some data sharing platforms available like Dwit.io. Okay, so Dwit.io is the platform where you can share collaborative things. So I will show you this. Dwit.io is the website, and with the Dwit.io we can have collaborative platform for texting and all. So it is open source platform, so it is for sharing your things. Okay, so you can interface your cloud with Duit.io. Okay, so this is the platform for, here it is, Duit.io. We can have sharing your things like it and thanks. So you can have a storage and everything with Duit.io. So they have their own APIs available. Okay, so we have Succeeded, Duits, Greetings, and all. Okay, so we can have you can use these particular keywords for putting your data onto the Duit.io. Okay, so again there are many partners like Ford is using, Renesas, Verizon are using this particular Duit.io, so we can play with this as well. So here it is a simple example they have given for Duit.io. You can refer this website afterwards for exploring this particular features. Just I am giving the names in the lecture, so you need to explore after this lecture all these websites. Okay, then there is another platform known as Murano. Murano, the Exosite is the company that developed this particular platform known as a Murano. So the website for this is exosite.com. So with this particular website, we'll get this platform as Exosite Murano. Okay, so again Murano, it's IoT building platform. Okay, and this is again IoT platform, and it's a good platform again. Okay, so Murano is there, IoT platform by Exosite. Okay, so we can have sign up and everything. So we can have data collection, data transmission, data aggregation, data distribution, and data consumption. So we can do all the things. So it's having nice dashboards facility with this as well. Okay, so we can have dashboards like this, Exosite dashboards. So we can have on-off control, we can have humidity, temperature, uptimes, and all. So you can refer this Murano platform for your integration. So this is a paid platform for learners. It is a free, so you can log into the Murano for design and development of your IoT applications. So there is one more platform known as Skelta. Skelta is the platform designed by Wonderware, that is BPM platform by Schneider. Okay, Skelta is again the platform designed by Schneider. So I will show you this Skelta. So it is a Wonderware Skelta platform. Okay, this is designed and developed by Schneider Electric. Okay, Schneider Electric is the company who uses this particular platform. Okay, so we can have Wonderware Skelta BPM workflow management. That is Schneider Electric Industrial Software Business has designed this particular platform for IoT applications and all. Okay. All right, next is WebNMS by Symphony, and WebNMS is again a IoT platform, and it is designed by Symphony. So Symphony is the company who designed this particular platform for connecting, that is WebNMS. It showcases the Symphony for IoT. Okay, so it is an enterprise edition available. Okay. So WebNMS is the separate, they have their websites, WebNMS. So over there we can have all the information about this IoT platform and all. Okay. All right. So you can test drive with WebNMS IoT platform, download tools available. We can have a request demo and everything. Okay. WebNMS is there. All right. So these are some IoT platforms we have learned, and these are some frameworks available. Also there are some frameworks like Eclipse, Paho is there, then Mosquitto is there. These are the brokers available. So broker is intermediate between the hardware and the software, so we can refer those brokers in the lab sessions as well. Okay, there are many hardware devices supported for IoT. We'll see those particular hardware devices now. So started with the Raspberry Pi. So we have a Raspberry Pi 2, Raspberry Pi 3, Wi-Fi plus BLE. So Intel Galileo Zen 1, Zen 2. Then currently Intel Galileo Zen 1 and Zen 2 are not available in the market, but they have very good chip known as an Intel Edison. So Edison is having inbuilt 4 GB of RAM on it, 4 GB of memory on it. Also there are two platforms from the ARM, that is ARM Cortex LPC1768, that is Cortex M3 Plus, and Cortex M0 Plus, that is Freescale KL25Z board. There are two boards from the BeagleBone. BeagleBone is again open source platform, and there are two versions available. One is BeagleBone Black and another is BeagleBone Blue. Also, there is a open source platform known as an Arduino and Node MCU available. Okay, so these are some IoT devices supporting for the IoT. So we'll see all the devices in detail. Okay, there are different hardware supporting devices available for IoT. Like we have Raspberry Pi 2, then we have um, Raspberry Pi 3, which is having Wi-Fi plus Bluetooth support. Also, currently Raspberry Pi 4 is available in the market. Also, we have Raspberry Pi 0 and Pi 0W as well. So, from Intel, we have Intel Galileo Gen 1, Gen 2, Intel Edison. Then from ARM, it is LPC 1768, Freescale KL25Z, BeagleBone Black and BeagleBone Blue, Arduino Uno, and Node MCU. We'll see in detail about Raspberry Pi 2. So this is the figure of Raspberry Pi 3 B+. So I will explain this. So it's having this 40 pin GPIO. It's having 4 USBs here, 1 Ethernet chip available, and it is having Broadcom IC, that is BCM2837. This is the Broadcom IC available. SD card slot at the backend side, and one display serial interface, and one camera serial interface is available. Here it is a HDMI output port available, power in, micro USB power in, and 3.5 mm jack is available here, and one Ethernet is available here. So this is Raspberry Pi 3 B+. So we'll see the features of this. CPU is a quad-core 64-bit ARM Cortex-A53, clocked at 1.2 GHz, 400 MHz of video core, 4 multimedia processor. Memory is of 1 GB of 900 MHz. USB port, it supports 4. It supports HDMI, that is high definition multimedia interface, and also 3.5 mm video jack, 10 by 100 Mbps Ethernet with 802.11 AN wireless standard. It's having 17 GPIO and HAT ID bus. 4.1 Bluetooth is there, and it runs with just 5-volt power supply. Okay. Again, these are the features available. So we can use 8 GB of SD card, with the minimum requirement is a class 4. It will run, just I have explained, 5-volt power supply. Bluetooth 4.1 is there. BLE is also there, that is Bluetooth Low Energy, and 2 ports are there for the serial. One is CSI and DSI. CSI stands for Camera Serial Interface. DSI stands for Display Serial Interface. So this is specifications. I have already explained these specifications in detail. Okay, we'll move forward. There are many operating system it supports, like Raspberry, JC, Noobs, Arch Linux, ARM, Fedora, then OpenELEC, RaspBMC, Ubuntu, MindPM, Kali Linux, RISC OS, OpenWrite for Raspberry Pi, Raspberry Digital Signature, Windows 10 Embedded. So these are the different operating systems available for Raspberry. And these two operating systems, that is Noobs and Raspbian, are the official operating systems. These are the two operating systems which are official one, and these are the third-party operating systems. So Ubuntu is there from Ubuntu. Then from Microsoft it is Windows 10. From OSMC and Librec card, OSMC is used by Samsung. So those who are using the smart TVs of Samsung, they might be using OSMC software package in that. Librec is there. Librec is again the smart TV codec, and Librec is from Kodi, and OSMC is again taken care by the Kodi only, Kodi Linux. Then we have Mozilla WebThings, Pinet is there, RISC OS, Weather Station, and Ichigo Jampi. So these are the different operating systems available. You can download these particular operating systems by visiting their websites. Okay, and you can try it at your home by using a Raspberry Pi. Okay. Next is Arduino Uno. So what the specialty of Raspberry Pi over the Arduino over the Raspberry Pi is, this Raspberry Pi is not having any analog input pins, but this Arduino Uno is having 6 analog input pins with the 10 bit of ADC. So it's having 6 analog inputs with 10 bit of ADC. It's having power pins here. We have a clock of 16 megahertz. We have a USB power connection. Also there is a DC power supply available. It uses Atmel's AVR microcontroller on chip. To be specific, it uses Atmega 328P or Atmel 328P. There is a reset button available. There are the digital input outputs available from D0 to D13, and the negation mark, that is 3, 5, 6, 9, 10 and 11 are the PWM outputs. So these are the analog outputs available with the Arduino Uno. So we'll see features of Arduino Uno. It is open source in terms of both hardware and software. That's why Arduino is more popular. The original Arduino cost you around 1300 rupees, and Duplicate Arduino will cost you around 350 or 400 rupees. It can be communicate via computer via USB serial connection over a USB. Then it can be powered from USB or standalone DC power supply, as it is having a DC jack here. So you can use either USB power supply or a DC jack power supply for powering up this particular Arduino Uno. It can run standalone from a computer, and it can has a small memory, so that we can program this and it can run alone. So no need of computer after programming. It's having both analog and digital inputs, so we can connect any of the sensors, actuators with this analog and digital inputs. You can make many cool stuff with this Arduino. So we have USB connector, power input is available. We have like power supplies, IO reference, reset, 3.3 volt power supply, 5 volt power supply. So these things are available in Arduino. There are 14 digital IO pins. From that, D0 to D13, these are the digital IO pins. And from this, D3, D5, D6, D9, D10 and D11 can be used as an analog output. So this pin can be used as an PWM as well. So analog inputs, analog IO pins, there are 6 analog inputs of 10 bit. So A0 to A5, and the resolution is 0 to 1023. That's why it's 4 millivolt is the minimum voltage we can measure by using this Arduino Uno. Next we have different families of Arduino. So we can have Arduino Mega, Arduino Uno, Arduino Mini, Arduino BT, Arduino Nano and Arduino LilyPad. These are the different variety of boards available with Arduino. Okay. So again you can add on chip on this, like Wi-Fi shield on it or Wi-Fi adapter on it, and then we can use it for IoT. Next is a very popular chip, that is Node MCU. It is a ASP8266 Node MCU, and this chip is specialty is it's having built-in Wi-Fi. So it's having Wi-Fi direct P2P and soft AP available. Okay, for the Wi-Fi. Then current consumption is just minimum, very minimum, that is 10 microampere to 170 milliampere. Flash memory attachable up to 16 MB maximum. Then it's having on board TCP/IP stack. So TCP/IP stack is available, so you can directly connect to the HTTP, or you can connect to direct internet, or you can connect to Wi-Fi hotspots with this. It uses processor as Tensilica EL106. It is a 32-bit of wide. Then processor speed is 80 to 160 megahertz. RAM is 32K plus 80K. GPIOs are 17. It is having 17 GPIOs. Then there is a single analog input pins, and again 10-bit resolution. So step size is 1024. It supports different Wi-Fi modes like 802.11 B, G and N standard it supports, and maximum concurrent TCP connections like Wi-Fi connections are for you with this particular board. Okay, so this is a physical diagram of pin description of Node MCU or ESP8266. So here we have a digital input pins D0 to D4. Then we have 3.3 volt and ground pin D5 to D8. Again RX-TX, that is UART pin are available. Ground is there, 3.3 volt is there. On this side we have A0 pin, that is analog input. Then RSV pins are there. SD3, this is a serial data access. Okay, so SPI bus available. Clock is there, ground is there, 3.3 enable. Then RST, ground and VIN. You can power up with micro USB cable, or you can have just 5 volt to VIN. So it can run with 3.3 volt as well as it can run with a 5 volt. Next is Intel Galileo Zen 2. So Intel Galileo Zen 2 uses Clock processor. Clock is SoC X1000 application processor. It is a 32-bit single core, single thread processor. Intel Pentium processor instruction it uses. It is ISA compatible. Operating system is up to 400 MHz. It supports a wide range of industry standard I/O interfaces, including full size of mini express PCI slot, 100 MB Ethernet port, micro SD card slot, USB host port and USB client port is available. It's having 256 MB of DDR3 and 512 MB of embedded SRAM is available. Okay, it can support up to 32 GB of micro SD card. Very good advantage of Intel Galileo Zen 2 is its pin functionality is compatible with Arduino R3 Shield. So you can use same Arduino R3 Shield on to the top of Intel Galileo Zen 2. You can program this particular Intel Galileo Zen 2 through Arduino IDE. Also, it supports Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, and Linux host operating systems. It supports Yocto Poki Linux. So Yocto 1.4 is a Poki Linux release. What the specialty of Yocto Linux is, it is very lightweight Linux, and the kernel of Yocto is just a 12 MB kernel, and booting time is just 50 seconds. So within a 50 seconds it boots up, and the limitation is it's not having a GUI, but everything you will get in Yocto Linux. So all the repositories are there, like you can have Wi-Fi repositories, you can have device drivers and everything in a Yocto. So you can use the Yocto for any of the smart real-time operating systems. Like Yocto is a real-time operating system. Okay, so small embedded devices you can use Yocto. So this is Galileo Zen 2. So this is a board image of Galileo Zen 2. Here I'm going to explain you. This is a Ethernet port. So here we can connect a LAN. Then we have a DC power supply. Here it is a micro SD card slot. There is a reboot button available. Real-time clock pins are available. We have a reset button here. These top headers are available for Arduino Shield. So we can attach Arduino on this. So here you can look at the digital pinouts, the same as that of Arduino. Here it is a USB host port. So you can attach any of the camera to this as well. So USB camera is directly interfaced. USB device port. So by using this particular port, we can program through Arduino IDE. And here it is a FTTI port. So to connect with the computer with a serial port, we can have a 6-pin FTTI header as well. So this is about Intel Galileo Zen 2 image. The next chip is Intel Edison. Again, this is one more thing about Intel Galileo Zen 2. Currently, the Intel is not manufacturing this particular board, so these are discontinued by the Intel. They come up with a new board known as the Intel Edison. So Intel Edison is the board which is having very good features. It's having on-chip Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity on board. This Galileo is not having on-chip Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. We need to attach an express slot or Wi-Fi card back to it. But in case of Intel Edison, it's having on-chip Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. It uses Intel Edison. Then these are the pin slots for Arduino IDE. So we can attach Arduino shields over it, and you can observe here are the analog inputs. Here are the VCC, ground, and here these are the input digital I/O inputs. Also, the tilde sign will give you analog outputs as well. So here there are two micro USB ports available. One is a USB host port and USB power port available. Also, you can attach a DC power jack. One USB is there. Switch on and off buttons are there. So this is about Intel Edison. So we'll see the features of Intel Edison. So Intel Edison is integrated with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Also, it supports Yocto Linux, Python, Node.js, and Wolfram. So many languages it supports. It is a dual-core, dual-threaded Intel Atom CPU with 32-bit wide clock microcontroller. It can work with 7 to 15 volt with both breakout and kit for Arduino. 20 digital I/O pins are available. 6 provide analog input, 4 provides PWM. Built-in memory is there of 4 GB eMMC. 1 GB of RAM is there. It's having two processors. One is 500 MHz with this Intel Atom processor, and clock microcontroller which runs with 100 MHz. Next is ARM Cortex LPC1768. This is the board designed by NXP, and this is embed board. So what is the facility of this board is you can use browser-based coding for this as well. So again, it supports many analog inputs. So P2 to P15, these are the analog inputs, and also it's having a PWM outputs P21 to P26. Then there are 3 serial ports available: serial. 2 I2Cs are available, and these are multiplex ports. Okay, so you can use this particular P9 and P10 can be used as SDA or TX or RX or SCL, or you can use as a GPIO. So that you need to define every functionality of the pin in a program. Also, it supports CAN. So we have RD and TD pins for the CAN. It supports USB as well and Ethernet as well. Okay, so this is about LPC1768. So we'll see features of LPC1768. It is ARM Cortex M3 processor running at frequencies of 100 MHz. ARM Cortex M3 built-in nested vector interrupt controller. It supports NVIC controller. It supports up to 512 KB of on-chip flash programming memory, and 64 KB of on-chip SRAM is available. This particular board, that is 1768, supports in-system programming, that is ISP, and in application programming as well, IAP. So both the functionalities it supports, like the ISP and IAP programming functionality. Then there are 8 channel general purpose DMA, that is direct memory access controller, is available. It supports Ethernet MAC with RM2 interface. The RM2 interface is the 5-wire interface, 4-wire interface, and 5th line is ground. So this is RM2 interface, so it supports this RM2 interface as well. It supports USB 2.0 for device, host, and OTG controller. 4 UARTs are there, as I have already explained. 4 UARTs are there. Internal FIFO is available. DMA support is there. It's having CAN 2.0 bus with 2 channels. SPI is available in this, and 3 I2Cs. Also, it's having very good thing about I2S. I2C is inter IC sound interface is available. 70 general purpose GPIO pins are available with pull up or pull down registers, configurable with the register setting, that is configurable bits are there. It's a 12-bit ADC with 8 channel, okay, and conversion rate is up to 200 kilohertz. 10-bit D2A converter is there, okay. 4 general purpose timers or counters. 1 motor PWM support pin is available for controlling 3-phase control as well. Quadrature encoder is available. Then we can have 1 standard PWM timer or counter block for external counting of the input. Low power RTC is there for ideal mode or sleep mode, we can use it. Watchdog timer is available. ARM Cortex M3 system tick timer and including external clock input. Then repetitive interrupt timer is also available in this. Then each variable has its own clock divider and further power saving. So each peripheral is using separate clock divider so that you can save the power, or you can use it with by battery operating systems. Then standard JTAG is there for programming, and also it supports CMSIS as well. CMSIS is live debugging of the program on a hardware with the simulators. So integrated PME is there. PME stands for Power Management Unit. Next board is from Freescale. Freescale KL25Z. So again, GPIOs are available here on this side and this side. Okay. Then there are 2 USB ports. One is a SDA port and one is a USB host port. Then there is a touchpad sensor available. Here it is a KL25Z chip. Is from Freescale. Very good thing about this is it's having onboard accelerometer. That is MMQ accelerometer is available on this. Is a 3-axis accelerometer available, and 1 touchpad is available. Okay, and the cost of this KL25Z is just 700 rupees. So it's a very low cost board and having good functionalities. It uses an XP KL25Z Kinetics processor with ARM Cortex M0 series. It runs with 48 MHz with 16 KB of a RAM and 128 KB of a flash. It supports USB host or a device. It's having 2 SPIs, 2 I2Cs, 3 UART. There is 1 PWM. There are 16-bit ADCs are available. Then 1 12-bit DAC is available. Then there is a touch sensor available, and there are 66 GPIOs are available. Also, as I informed you, it's having MMA 8451Q 3-axis accelerometer. Also, it supports capacitive touch sensor. Okay, and it's very small board. It runs with 5-volt USB or 4.5 to 9-volt supply. And very good functionality is it's having drag and drop programming facility. So we need to program it and just drop the program on in the flash drive. Just like a USB, we are copying the file in the USB, we can copy the program into the KL25Z. Then this CMSIS DAP, it also supports CMSIS. Just now I have explained, it is runtime debugging is possible with the simulator and with the hardware. So suppose if you are using Kale, you can debug the program in Kale, and you can interface the KL25Z with your laptop. The same program, if you are writing for LED blink, same hardware LEDs are blinking. So we can simulate in the Kale, but actually hardware is running that. So that is possible with the help of CMSIS. Then you can use C or C++ SDK for this. Okay, and also the online compilers are also available for KL25Z. Next board is BeagleBone Black. So there are 2 series available, BeagleBone Blue and BeagleBone Black. Again, these are the open source boards, and it supports Linux platform. Here these are the 48 GPIO pins available on both the sides. Here 48 and here 48. One USB port is there, one Ethernet port is there. It can run with a 5-volt power supply. And on the backhand side, we have a SD card slot. So we can fix SD card at the backend side. Okay, so processor is, it uses AM55X, 1 GHz ARM Cortex A8, 512 MB of DDR3 RAM. On chip 4 GB of eMMC flash storage device is available. 3D graphics accelerator is also available, and it uses a Neon floating point accelerator. Two PRU 32-bit microcontrollers are available. It uses connectivity as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. A USB client for power and communication is available. USB host is there. Ethernet is available, and HDMI is available. So there are 2 into 46 pins header. Just I have explained. Then software compatibility, you can use this for many of the software. Debian software is Ubuntu, Android, or Cloud9 IDE. You can program with Node.js or BoneScript. So there is a separate programming known as BoneScript. You can write BoneScript for BeagleBone as well. Then there is another version is available, that is BeagleBone Blue. So we have different headers available to connect different GPIOs. Again, this is integrated with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So this is Wi-Fi chip it uses from TI. That is Texas Instrument. It runs with 12 volt. One USB port is there. We can attach any camera to it as well. Then features are, it uses Octave system, OSD 3358, 1 GHz of RAM with Cortex A8 processor, 512 MB of DDR3 RAM, 4 GB, 8-bit eMMC flash storage memory, integrated power management unit is there, 2 into 32-bit 200 MHz programmable real timer IC, Neon floating point accelerator is also available. Then USB 2 client port for communication and hosting, and it can be programmed with Debian as well. Okay, so this is about BeagleBone Blue. Features BeagleBone Blue, again you can use it not 2.11 BGN standard or 4.1 BLE. There are separate motor controls also available. On board 9-axis IMU, that is accelerometer, gyroscope and magnetometer is available on board, and barometer and thermometer is also available on board. So if you want to interface these particular things, you can use onboard resources. Then 11 user programmable reads are available, 2 programmable buttons are available. It supports additional buses for including peripherals communication like GPS, DSM2 radio, UART, SVI, I2C, then 1.8 analog volt and 3.3 GPIOs as well. Okay, so this is home application. We will see this application in detail when we study the last chapter, that is applications of an IoT. Okay, so this is about today's lecture. So I will float one assignment for you guys. So here you need to study different IoT softwares, and you need to note down the features of those particular hardwares, whether it is a paid, whether it is a free, what type of features it supports. So you have to search many frameworks, many platforms of IoT, and you have to list down all the things. So in a Word, you need to list down, and you need to upload the Word file in the assignment tab. So I will create an assignment. 1 week time is available for you. So the thing first part, you have to write in the Word file. There are different IoT platforms available, IoT frameworks available, and second, you need to write the features of different IoT supported hardware boards. So you have to study different hardware supported for the IoT, and you need to list down the features and images of those particular boards. Okay, so you have to create a Word file, do some background study on Google, and do some research, and then you have to submit that assignment. So I will create a link on Microsoft Teams. So you have to refer the team link. Again, now we can join again to the Teams, and we'll discuss some queries or questions there. Okay, thank you. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon. Thank you.